So now that we know how to create a file and directory, let's learn how to add text or data to a file that already exists. So here I'm going to remove this line, and then I'm going to zoom out a little, and then I'm going to create a function that will write some text to the file. You need to learn this because once we get data from the web, we need to store that data in a text file. Therefore, we need to create that function that will write something to a file. So here I'm going to create a new function and I'm going to name it def and then write to file, because we want to write something to a specific file, and obviously we need to pass the path and the text that we want to store inside that file. So I'm going to say here for now, I'm going to say data, and later we can pass more parameters. So we can modify this function later, but for now I'm going to just pass here a parameter called data, and then now we need to type the logic. Now here we want to kind of open the file that we have its path, and then we want to write something to it. How can we do that in Python? Well, in order to do that in Python, you can use the with, and then you can obviously use the open, and then pass the path, and the path again, the path contains the path and the file name. So the path is going to be something like this. The path is going to be, for example, wiki and then /, and then the name of the file, for example, test.txt. So this is the path, is going to be something like this. And then the second parameter here is just the flag that we want to pass. I'm going to here pass a for append in order to append something to the file. And then you can here say as file. So it's going to open that file in the append mode, and then it's going to store it in a variable called file, and then we can use that file and then write again in order to write something to that file. So here in that file you can pass the data that you want to store to that file, you want to write to that file. So obviously we have the data, so you can here pass the data. And it's always recommended that once you pass something to the right, it's always recommended that you add plus and then forwards and then quotes, and then inside those quotes backslash and then in order to add a new line, because if you want to write another piece of data to that file, it's going to be added in a new line. It's always recommended that you pass for backslash and then in order to add a new line after you have written something inside that file. So this function is going to do that. This function is going to write something to the file. Let's now test this function. So here outside that function, let me call it write to file, and then we need to pass the path as you can see, wiki and then test.txt. So I'm going to here pass wiki and then test and then .txt and then comma and then the data that we want to write inside that file. Let's say this is the data that we want to store, and that's it. Let me now save, and in the terminal let me clear everything, because it's now better now, it's clean now. Let me now use the Python 3 and then the name of the script, which is functions and then py, and then let me hit enter, and let's go back to our project and check if data has been stored or has been written to that file or not. So if you open the test, which is inside the wiki, if you open it, as you can see, now it says here this is the data that we want to store. If you run your script again, let me run the script again, Python 3 and then functions.py, and let me go back to the test. As you can see, a new line has been stored in that file has been written inside that file, and it has been written in a new line because we have this backslash and then n. So whenever you store a new piece of data, it's going to be stored in a new line, which is awesome.